Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. What an incredible honor. Hosting Rotarian Kalyan Banerjee, only the third Indian to have served as a Rotary International President in his 121-year history. Of course, we had a fourth one after that, Shekhar Mehta, is a milestone for any Rotarian. Today is a momentous occasion for the Rotary Club of Bombay and all the Rotarians of 3141 and 3142 present here today, as we celebrate the launch of Tirelessly Yours, a book authored by Kalyan himself, and also the 126th anniversary of the founding of Rotary International, which was coincidentally only yesterday, 23rd of February. We're joined by a man who needs no introduction, but deserves every bit of our gratitude. Past Rotary International President, Rotarian Kalyan Banerjee, from the industrial hub of Vapi to the highest echelons of Evanston, Kalyan journey has been defined by the reach within to embrace humanity philosophy, which was incidentally his Rotary International theme for that year also. Kalyan, your book isn't just a memoir, it's a roadmap of a life dedicated to service. Welcome, and thank you for sharing your Tirelessly Yours. So I'll dive straight into the questions, Kalyan, with your permission.
Go ahead.
And the first thing is about the genesis of the book. You've seen Rotary from every possible angle, from a club member to the world president. What was the spark or the specific moment that made you realize these stories had to be captured in a book right now? And what do you hope readers, both Rotarians as well as non-Rotarians, will take away from this book?
Thank you. Well, truth to tell, it was, I didn't write the book. It was my club members who one day, the immediate past president, for example, one night he decided that we should have a book and let the club, members come and get it, put it in a place. So he and a few other Rotarians got together. I guess they engaged a writer from Bangalore. I don't know how he managed to get them. And there you are. That's it. That's what the writer went around all over the place. He interviewed me a couple of times. And he interviewed me, he interviewed my friends, he interviewed the family, my son and daughter, both of whom were abroad, he interviewed them. And that's how the book came through with the Rotarians, non-Rotarians, friends, business people, everyone was, I believe, got in touch with. So that is what you have in the book over here. It has a little bit about my childhood, and I said, why are you writing about my childhood, Ganesh? That was the author, Ganesh, and he said, well, just to show where you come from, in the beginning. What is the takeaway? I think it reaches, that while working in a group, you can do the impossible, really, if you work with the group, as well as at all the time. And so it perhaps teaches you that at club level, you can achieve anything. And again, at the international level, you can achieve whatever you set out to do over there. Perhaps the two things which highlight what my Rotary career has been comes from two of the themes given by past presidents. One was imagine. Imagine, a lot of imagination goes into all Rotarian leaderships, and make dreams real. Once you have imagined, go ahead and make your dreams real, which come from Korea, the Korean leader. At the age of 82, unfortunately, I forget the names very easily. All right, please mind me for that. I'm trying to avoid that. D.K. Lee, yes. Go ahead.
So moving on to India's role in global Rotary as such, during your presidency, you were a fierce advocate for India's potential. How has the Indian identity, which Rotary evolved from your early days to what you see in the clubs today?
I think India has evolved, unimaginably. Today, I think, USA may be having a total number of members or more, but and it may be giving more to the Rotary Foundation every year. That's okay. But otherwise, we are number 2 in the world in both ways. I mean, the number of growth of members from India is absolutely amazing, and we have maintained it year after year. And sometimes I feel we need to control this a little bit because, you know, sometimes it's getting out of hand, I mean, truth to tell, but I really don't want to get into that. But what's the future going to be? I really don't know. And the collection, you know, I remember in my year as president, we went up, the Rotary Foundation collection went up from 230 million in my predecessor, Ray Klingensmith's year. And it was the first year we raised $300 million. Today, I think it will be approaching 500 million in the next couple of years, if not earlier. I can see the trustee over here nodding his head.
Well, records are meant to be broken, aren't they, Kalyanda?
Yes.
And coming to the polio legacy,
Yes.
you played a pivotal role during the years India finally became polio-free.
Yes.
When you look at the Rotary days spent in that struggle,
Yes.
what is the one lesson in persistence that you want the new generation of Rotarians to carry forward? And we have several in the audience.
Well, if it is polio plus that you're talking about, number one, to remember that although we are supposed to have removed polio from the world, we haven't done that yet. It's still there, and sometimes it's increasing in various places. Immunize the children of the world around, without any fail on a regular basis, as we have been doing. I mean, Pakistan and Afghanistan are still, very much there, and we don't know. I mean, Nigeria used to have polio till recently. They honored Raja Sabu and me for having taken special trouble to get Rotary out of, or polio out of Rotary. I'm sorry, the other way around. Polio free in Nigeria. So it is still very much there. It can come back at any time. And I guess once polio does get removed, it is, of course, totally removed from India, and it stays removed. But, we can look at the other issues. We have been looking at, for example, literacy. We have been looking at water management around the country. We have health care around everywhere. Of course, Rotary is now looking at the peace initiatives all over the world. So these, again, are the areas to look at.
Leading 1.2 million Rotarians in your time across diverse cultures and contexts must have presented unique challenges. What was your most difficult moment as the RI president, and what did it teach you?
Well, let me see. I think one of the most difficult things perhaps was, getting Afghanistan to be requested to make, immunize their children, because the Muslim population around both Pakistan and Afghanistan, they just were not immunizing the children. For example, जब पाकिस्तान में जब गए तो वो कहते the president over there, I think it was who was the president? I don't. But he said, go and meet the leader of the opposition. The leader of the opposition was out of Karachi. He said he'll come back in the evening. We waited till 2 o'clock at night. We went to him at 2 o'clock and said, कब कुछ बच्चों को immunization तो कराइए. तो बोले देखिए आप लोग हम immunization तो कराएंगे, हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. लेकिन अमेरिका वाले आके हमारे ऊपर ये बॉम्ब छोड़ रहे हैं, उसके लिए आप क्या करेंगे? आप हमें तो शांति दीजिए पहले, उसके बाद हम आपके बात सुनेंगे. मैंने कहा देखिए वो तो आपको गवर्नमेंट लेवल पर आपको देखना होगा, लेकिन आप बच्चे के लिए तो आप ये विचार करिए, जरा सोचिए जरा. तो भाई एटलीस्ट ही सेड ओके ठीक है हम देखेंगे. It never happened. But perhaps the most dangerous thing was visiting President Karzai in Afghanistan, because I wanted to visit Afghanistan. So everybody in Rotary said, no, you can't go, because Americans were certainly not going into Afghanistan. Well, they said, if you really want to go, that was General Secretary John Hugo tells me, that if you want to go there, you will have to go alone. Nobody else will go. I said, all right, I'll go alone. But how do I get to meet him? So he said, oh, the American army is located in there. Unse jaake miliye, they'll help you. they sent Vinota, my wife, back to my home in Bombay. उन्होंने कहा कि भाई आप वापस आएंगे नहीं मुझे पता नहीं है उसके बाद क्या होगा मुझे पता नहीं Vinota should go over there. So she came back. Of course, she didn't know the reason, what exactly she had been sent back for. But anyway, I managed to go via Dubai. You have to get into Pakistan and all, Afghanistan. And I tell you, it was pretty, scary over there. I stayed in some kind of a guest house over there. Nothing at all in that guest house. No. I mean, far from a normal hotel. I mean, it was just a room. That's all. They said you keep the windows closed, keep the doors closed, don't open them, even if anybody knocks on your door. So, ठीक है, बाहर मत जाइएगा. And then on the third day, they took me to, they sent a jeep over there, the army over there. They took me to the army headquarters. A brigadier was there. He put me in a jeep and started taking me through Kabul. And I tell you, all the shops were closed. There were gunmen, the army people, standing on top of every ceiling over there, ready with guns. So it was absolutely, like a, war-torn city altogether. I had to go through about 3 gates, different gates, and over there, security checked every time. Went up, finally, waiting in Karzai's room, and in walked Karzai. Boliye, welcome, and thank you for coming over here, he said. That was it. So that was perhaps the most tricky part of it. He promised to do everything, but he still hasn't done it. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's the dedication of Kalyanda, which speaks why he is the Rotarian that he is. Thank you, Kalyanda, for what you did. Now, moving very swiftly to local club impacts. Having served in the Rotary Club of Vapi, how do you see the role of individual clubs like ours in Bombay or Mumbai in advancing Rotary's global mission?
Well, that's fairly, I think a simple question to answer. I think, look, this I have said in everywhere around the world, that the best Rotary Club in the world is the Rotary Club of Bombay, okay? And I'll say that anywhere, even very much to the Rotary Club of Vapi as well. So, yes, they are, you are pretty good. And I mean, you have some of the most outstanding members, committed members, dedicated members, but members who are absolutely, totally dedicated to the job. They are there every meeting. Amazing at the meetings that you have over there, for example. Everyone. There's support to the Rotary Foundation that you give, the highest in the world every year. You have not the largest membership over here, but even then, you are the highest in the support to the Rotary Foundation every year, year after year. The projects that you do, I mean, you built, homes. You have built, small homes, shelters a few years ago, perhaps not very recently, but maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I know. You are doing projects, big projects, you are doing small projects, you are doing projects everywhere. Your work with the students, the youth, the next generation is amazing. You have, I think, one of the vice chancellors of one of the universities as your member, if I have not, at least you used to have a lady. And well, I mean, every time I have seen the enthusiasm of the youth over here are amazing. So it's what other clubs can do is do the same thing, maybe on the scale which suits them, the circumstances which surround them. That's it. That's all that you have to do. Your commitment, your dedication, your engagement. That's what is required.
Thank you, Kalyana. Maybe we should invite you more often to motivate our members. So in closing now, Kalyanda, reaching the end of our tete-a-tete,
Yep.
What advice would you give to the younger Rotarians today who aspire to make a significant impact through Rotary?
Well, let me see. The younger Rotarians, I think, are as good they have ever been, believe me. But they think and they work, they act a little differently. So I think the Rotarians have got to understand that. But let them do their thing in their own way. Young Rotarians coming and they cannot start something entirely different and new on their own. They need to continue to follow up what the clubs have really been doing, the traditions that have been set up. Follow. I mean, that I have said everywhere, every time, that don't go on thinking as a new president, you have to start a new project over here. And after you go, nobody will remember what you did. Do something that continues what your club has been doing. Do something that will continue long after you have gone from your club. So that's what I say. The young Rotarians, if they dedicate themselves totally, if they dedicate their time, if they dedicate their energy and themselves to Rotary in a simple way, and then go on doing exactly what their club is doing, I think that's the best way to go ahead.
Thank you, Kalyanda. That was very, very enriching, enlightening, and the world leader that he is, let's all give him a huge round of applause.